Right. This is not something I've done before. I don't really know where to start, so I've written down post-it notes of the past. Don't know how long. It's more just to get things out in my own head, just to empty it and stop hiding things. This is to a lot of people, so this is to friends, to family, people who I stream for, who some people might know mean a lot to me. I love it. It's a great hobby. And I like that people enjoy what I do. But maybe it's just to get reason. I'm 35 now, and I'm going to go back to when I was 15. When I was 15, I had glandular fever. I spent most of the end of year 10, I'd say. I don't know. My mum probably know. In bed, very hazy because I never left the bed. After that, I suffered from depression. I can't remember what tablets I was on. I remember at one point being on Zopiclone for sleeping. I think it was propranolol for anxiety, but I don't know. I stopped going to school. I just wanted to go home. Maybe, somewhat rebellious as well. So after a while, the decision was for me to leave school. I never actually finished my exams. Wasn't great. What was that? I'm reading in my notes. Sorry. After that, I met my biological father for the first time in a long time. I met him once or twice when I was about 10. I didn't know him before that. I probably stopped seeing him when I was about 4. Not long after, the girlfriend I was with, she was pregnant. We were both pregnant. It was a struggle. We broke up a few times because I didn't get a job, because I was tired all the time and I felt useless. 4th of June 2003, 26 minutes past 7 in the morning, he was born. And then she lived with her mum and dad. Her mum was, if she saw this, if they saw this, I think to a degree, her mum was a bit controlling over the situation. And sometimes I had to feel like I had to have permission to pick up my own son. I didn't really know what was going on. And then after a while, it was decided that I was useless and I didn't do anything. And I was kicked out. I saw him a few times afterwards, but I found it very difficult. It's like I didn't feel like I had a bond. I always felt like I'd be in trouble. It just didn't work. After a while, much later on, he was adopted by his mum's husband. And from that point on, that's then their story. He met me later on when he was asking questions, so he knows who I am and where I am. It's his decision to make there. After that, everything got very hazy. I don't really remember much of the year afterwards. I remember having a few breakdowns. Apparently, I had arguments with family members that I don't even remember. I remember it being a civil discussion, but people around remember it being completely different to how I remembered it. I had counselling sessions because apparently I told a counsellor that I wanted to take my own life, and I don't remember that, and I don't remember the counselling sessions. My mum used to have to drive me to these things. She could tell you more than I know. I don't know. That was around about the age of about 17, 18, 19. I just ended up trying to be a typical lad, going out every weekend, spending most of my money on down the pubs and clubs. I met another person for a while when I was about 18. I lived with her for a few months until it was decided that I'd never got up. I kept missing time at work and I didn't do anything. When I did do stuff, it wasn't good, it was useless, and they kicked me out. When I was 19, I met who is now my ex-wife, just turning 20. The year after, she was pregnant. We used to live above a pub. Not long after, we moved into a proper house. First proper house I, lived in, paid rent for, and things like that. It was all different. Then, 2007, February, my son was born. It was a culture shock for me. I tried. I hope I like to think I did well with my son. Maybe I could have tried better with my relationship rather than going out with my mates every weekend. Occasionally having a mate crash on the sofa, things like that. But I was young and stupid. Finally, after too long, I managed to curb that. We ran into a bit of debt, which was a struggle. Eventually got that cleared. But then come about, this is throughout the time afterwards, I just felt like I couldn't do enough. I felt like I was letting them down all the time. Around about 2012ish, I guess. It was like I just felt I couldn't do anything. I think people would be better without me. I think it was around that time anyway. It got a bit blurry, but I remember thinking that people would be better without me, and I think I knew what the solution would have been. Again. But I didn't, because I had a son, and that would not be fair on them. And that's the reason I kept going. Because I wanted to, but because I had to for them. 2015-ish, I started crawling myself into more debt because I wanted to do nice things for people. So I got out of debt and I was bringing myself back in it. And it was all my own personal debt. I never told my wife about it because I was too scared of what they would say. So I hid it. Took out lots of silly little loans. Consolidated them on a loan with another loan with higher percentage, which I'm still paying off now. Around that time again, that's when I was really in pain, like physical pain. Not long after, apparently, it seemed I had fibromyalgia. Depressed, tired, but the things I kept getting told by people was, they're depressed too. They still carry on. Why can't I? So I thought, that just must mean I'm lazy and I'm selfish and I don't do anything. And then I just felt useless. And that's when it came to about 2017. That's when I left my wife. Because I wasn't sure if I loved them, because I didn't do anything for them. Didn't do the things I was expected to. I started getting more scared of them. Not their fault. Not their fault at all, but I was scared of being told off. Like a little child. And I still, to this day, when I'm in a relationship, I get scared of that. I get scared of being told off. When someone's with me gets cross, I think it's going to be my fault, and I get an edge. So I felt I couldn't make them happy, and I thought they'd be better without me. And that's when I left. Within a year, we had a divorce. And they took all the debt with me, because it was not their responsibility. They were not aware of it. And they took it all with me, which I'm still paying off. 2018, I met somebody else. First generation English. Parents were Indian. It was very difficult to spend time with them, because they lived with their parents, and their parents didn't expect them to, stay over or anything, because we weren't married. A little while after, they found out that, one, I was already married before. I think at the time I was still married. It didn't go down very well with them. They didn't want her to see me anymore. And then to top that off, they found out that I had a son. I don't know how my girlfriend at the time expected that to be hidden, but I couldn't do that. It was probably me that instigated telling them. But I spent a good few months where I couldn't see her, and I didn't know what was going on, and I had a bit of a breakdown. Everything was a struggle again. So I got engaged. We had wedding venue and everything booked, which was going to take over a year to get married. So I felt like everything was on pause. And at the time, I was struggling with my own mortality, thinking, I'm going to die. When I die, that's it. And it terrified me. Something that often comes into my head. So then come 2019, I was away for a weekend and I met somebody else, and I cheated on her. The person I was engaged with, I cheated on them. Me. I wanted to tell them, and I told them. And I said that I can't be engaged to someone I cheat on. Where's it going to go? And I ended it. The person I cheated on them with, I started seeing for a bit. They lived a little further away. I was seeing them for a bit. It was, we had a laugh and everything. And after the initial fact that I hurt somebody else, I cheered up and I had a good laugh. It was all right. Did stuff, had a laugh, and it was great. Then come lockdown, their attitude seemed to change towards me, and pretty much at the very beginning of lockdown, they split up with me. I felt isolated, cut off, but I had lots of friends to support me. It didn't go well. For some reason, it hit me hard. I think it's just because it was just the peaks and troughs, but everything got really, really blurry. I think I lost 4 stone over the course of about 4 months. I was smoking about 20 to 40 a day. And yeah, it just wasn't playing well. I hardly slept. I ate shit. But I had friends around to support me. And speaking to support, that's probably around the time I started speaking to Kim, who's my girlfriend. She was very supportive of the situation. She liked me, I liked her, but she knew that I didn't really want to be in a situation where we were together until my head was right. So I gave her some time, and then I met her. She lives in Northern Ireland. Yeah, then we got together, and things were getting better. Throughout this time, I had friends who were supporting me beforehand. They getting a bit more quiet with me. Maybe they were sick of supporting me. I don't know, but maybe they thought it was someone else's problem. But I'm still struggling with depression and fibro pains. So those, after a discussion with the doctors who I've been talking to a good few times last year, they just seemed to want to get me off the phone. It seemed to be they didn't care about invisible illnesses at the time. They didn't seem bothered about people's mental health or my physical pains, which, to be fair, was probably the reason I lost my job last year as well. Which I forgot to mention. But they ended up putting me on a new course of tablets. After 2 months of being on the tablets, I believe, they didn't put it on repeat. And I missed over a week. And the withdrawal symptoms were horrible. It was dark. It was probably the worst week of my life. One of. But I fell out with friends, and I don't know why. To this day, I don't know why. Apparently, I seemed like a traitor and a backstabber, and I did things that I don't know, and it's all a blur. The whole situation's a blur. And for that, whatever I've done to them, I'm sorry. I felt that guilty. I know it sounds stupid. I felt that guilty. I wanted to again end my life. But Kim helped me through it. And my son, just knowing he's there is enough to keep me going, even on the worst days. So I got through that week, and I kept going, and I kept having times where I get concerned, paranoid, worried I was hurting people without knowing I was hurting them. But the tablets didn't seem to be working. They just seems to be making me worse. And the doctors kept saying, "Oh, we need to up them," and they upped them twice until I was on the max dosage, which I'm just coming off now. Last month was difficult. I wanted to try and help people. It all backfired in my face. I made some good friends, and I immediately lost them. I'm never a person to want to hurt people, no matter how, even if they bloody deserved it. I would never want to deliberately go out my way to hurt somebody. I guess I'm too empathic for that. Well, I mean, 2018, an anxiety attack sent me to hospital. 2019, anxiety attack sent me to hospital twice. Just 3 weeks ago, I think, or 3, I think. I had paramedics around who wanted me to go to hospital, and I refused because my blood pressure was too high. weirdly, now I'm off the tablets. My blood pressure's all right. Not great, but it's a lot better. Throughout this time, I always reached out to the doctors for help, and I don't think I had it. At one point, they felt they wanted to try and help, and their idea, about 2015, was cognitive-based therapy. And after the assessment, I was told I was autistic and it would not be of value to me. Twice after that, the doctors have tried sending me again. I've had doctors missing my repeat prescriptions for medication I needed. I've had doctors on the phone just seem to want to get me out of the way. I've gone through counselling multiple times. I've tried reaching out to friends, but I don't want to take up their time, as stupid as it sounds. I'm worried they're going to try and give me their sage, words of wisdom. And it irritates me when people go, "Have you tried this? Have you tried that?" And it's like, of course. If you've Googled it, I probably have twice. I guess maybe it's everyone I've been through in my life has never, I don't blame them at all for their reactions towards me. No matter how long ago or no matter how recent. I guess I just want help, proper medical help. How difficult is it? When I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia, I tried to get an understanding of why they've diagnosed me with it. And they said, well, it's process of elimination. And there seems to be the doctor's way of saying, we've run out of ideas, mate. I could have fibromyalgia. I could have SAD. I don't know. Don't know what it is, really. But medically, diagnosis-wise, it's fibro. But, I'm feeling better. I just wish the past year could have gone a bit differently. I'm very happy with, the fact that I met Kim. I'm so happy I'm over the moon. But I've lost a lot of good friends. And I feel like I've got a brilliant hobby I like doing, and sometimes I get scared. That I'm going to do something wrong. I suppose that's it. Half 4 in the morning. Right. I think that's pretty much it, I guess. Just going through the notes, see if there's anything. This is why I had to write stuff down. It seems when I get to the highest point where I'm mentally incapable of things happening, I black out. Not like fall on the floor, black out, but everything's like just becomes a haze. It's like fog. When I was 17, it's just a whole months of fog. Last year, fog. Same with like 2012, just it's fog. I can get a certain amount. October was awful, and that's what it was. It was like black fog. It's awful. I really no idea what happened, what I said. And the worst thing is no one will talk to me about it. I'd love to know. People hate me. Just tell me what I did. That'd be great. But I'm never a person to go out and deliberately spite someone. If I don't like them, I'll just won't talk to them. I'm not a person. I've never even hit. kicked a person once. That's because I missed punching them when I was about 17, and that was because there was a friend of ours. They said that they said that they'd been they'd slept with a friend of ours, and she denied it, and she was a friend of ours. We know that it didn't, so we went out to try and tell him to shut his mouth, and I ended up kicking him, and that was once. Apart from that, I don't think I've ever punched a person in my life. Never been in a fight in my life. Bit proud of it. Although if I get a kicking, I'll regret it. But I'm not violent. I don't like arguments. Normally, if I get in a massive argument, I get overwhelmed. And I just can't do it. And not out to cause hate, but I think you can establish by now, over what I've said, the one person I've hated more than anyone in the world, most of the time, is myself. But I'm working on it. Hopefully, once I change GPs, might be able to make some progress. But I've told everyone now. I don't have to answer your silly questions. Don't come to me giving me advice saying, have you tried this? Have you tried that? My current mission is to find a proper doctor who cares. I've been given a lot of advice on that, and I'm working towards it. So hopefully I'll be able to move forward. I'll be able to get on with my life. I'll be able to over a floor without it feeling like a mammoth task. But there we go. This I may share with family and friends. Anyway, right, I'm done. I'm good though. Don't worry. I've got plenty of support.